Hey traders, this is Christian from Hertz, Tribeca Trade Group with your end of day recap for Wednesday. And I mean, look at this guy, John Ledger. I thought this was really funny. I follow John Ledger on Twitter, and this is what he tweeted out yesterday. So, I mean, I think of the guy's face. It just kind of cracks me up. So, we did take T-Mobile. We took a small trade for earnings. I'm kind of just holding off. I kind of held off on today's earnings, most of them. This was the only one that I took today. I took the what was it? 62 and a half, 64 call spread. So this looks pretty good for tomorrow. I think for earnings season, I am now. I'm not going to count this one, but I'm 3 for 4. So three for four. UNH was a winner. Morgan Stanley was a winner. I talked about that in last night's call about how I thought Morgan Stanley had a nice chance after everybody, the consensus, the sentiment was down in the banks. Was the only bank name I've taken for earnings, and a triple at that. So really nice. I put on a position for calls for 35 cents, and took a target today at a buck. And then the third play that I had, which for some reason escapes me, what I did. What was the other trade that I put on for earnings? Completely drawing a blank. IBM. I shorted IBM. So $2 paid 88 cents. So 3 for 4 for earnings so far, and T-Mobile looks good as well. So just thought that was pretty funny. So listen, it's kind of, I think there's a number of reasons that everybody's kind of saying, okay, this market is like, it's cooking. And one of the things that I kind of came into the week saying was one of the thing that I'm most concerned about is earnings. And for the most part, they've been pretty good so far. It's just been 1 week of earnings. Netflix set the pace, and there's been a number of names that continue to go higher. There has been a couple stumbles here, obviously with the bank earnings. Some of them have either started higher and gone lower, or just they're not that great. And let's face it, I've talked about this at nauseum. Their business lines are not what they used to. There's some things that are a positive catalyst for the banks, like the regulatory uh, environment has gotten better, but the trading environment is not getting much better right now. So that's the story with the banks and why I kind of stayed away from them. But real nice day again in technology. Nasdaq continues. Nasdaq, we're still. Do we got a 52-week high actually today in Nasdaq futures? I don't know if we got it today in the Qs, so I did not realize that earlier. But yeah, Qs made a 52-week high. So, I mean, how many days in a row have we had green bars at this point? One, two, three, four, five, six. I guess this is not one, but seven and eight. So we are still not overbought. And do I think this is getting a little bit crazy? This many up days in a row? Sure. I do, but I think we want to stay with this trend. A couple of names started to get a little bit of exhausted today. Alibaba kind of came in a little bit. They're overbought. Some of these names, I think you have to analyze them on a case by case situation. But Alibaba has had one crazy run, bunch of call buying in there. JD is another name, kind of stalling out right around where it stalled out last time. So we're at an interesting point for some of these names. Some of these names are starting to get a little bit uh, tired, I think. So again, you have to really analyze these by case situation. Facebook, we saw big call buying again this morning in Facebook. This name also starting to get overbought. You could see I always rely on the RSI to tell me that things are getting a little bit crazy. So I'm hoping at this point some of these names come in a little bit before earnings. Clearly, this is what we saw last quarter, where a lot of the momentum names are running into the earnings print. I was looking at Google earlier because Google did. I mean, if you remember what happened with Google last quarter, here's last quarter. Look at the RSI going into the quarter last time, and I did not play Google long last quarter because of this RSI. I thought it was overbought, but we are not overbought. We are higher than the last earnings quarter, but we saw some pretty crazy trades go up in Goog. They always use Goog when they trade options, but they bought the 10 January. So let me say this correctly. They unwound a really nice trade that they had on September 925, 955 call spread, and they rolled it out to the January 1040, January 1040, 1080 call spread. They also put this trade on too in September. Excuse me, November, was it? Now I can't find it. It looks like they did a 1 by 2 trade for, I believe, for November. And now I can't find it. I think it was this one. Yeah, the 1040s versus 1160s. That's it. So they did this 1 by 2 call spread for November. 1040 calls versus 1160 calls. So they sold twice as many of them at a higher price to help finance the nearer dated calls. But this trade I think is really interesting. I might actually put this trade on. Not huge size because it's going to cost you about 12 bucks. But $12 for a January 1040 1080 call spread, I kind of like it. So that's something that I'm looking at before earnings to maybe put on for a long dated trade in Google. Besides that, besides the movement in the momentum names, the FANG names, and the call buying, some call buying in Conagra, some call buying in IGT. I shot a video earlier on FMC, not FMC, sorry, VMC, which is here. Big at the money call buyer in this name. Amazon, we also saw next week's call. Sorry, I forgot about this one. Amazon, we saw next week's calls. I'm still sitting in my last position that expires on Friday. So I'm through both of my strikes, my upper strike. I'm along the 1015, 1025 call spread, which I've taken targets out, and I'm letting the last one run. But I'll have to pay really close attention to this tomorrow because it does expire on Friday. Visa, we continue to see Visa calls. AXP looks like it may have reversed. So initial reaction was higher for AXP. Notice we have a VPOC up here, which sometimes acts as a price magnet. So it looks like we took that out and are now lower, which often is the case with how earnings are. What else? Then there's just, besides those, just a bunch of different types of trades. Hain, we keep seeing call buying in. So Hain was up 4% today. You know, this is a name that we not just today we saw call buying in, but call buying a couple weeks ago in Hain. I think once last week and once a couple weeks ago in Hain. So, you know, it is what it is. This one's moving out and above the 200-day moving average. So I didn't get long here. I thought about it, but you know, you can't take every trade. As I say this quite a bit, is there's an awful lot of call activity that's, I think, higher than normal call activity the last 3 or 4 days. Then we started to see some energy buying. U.S. Steel, amazing play. Someone played this in the trading room today. In U.S. Steel, you know, when this thing wants to go, it goes, and the call buyers jump on. Always short dated call, not always, but lately it's been very short dated call buying, which is what we saw again today. Same thing with AK Steel. You know, they go right to the options that are going to move the most in a big move, in a big quick move. So a lot of they came in a couple times and bought U.S. Steel calls. The solar names we saw, I lumped these three together because you know these names are just continuing to break out. CSIQ has been a repeat offender of call activity, so even though it dipped at the end of the day, still up 4%. Kind of looking like maybe possibly a toppy looking candle here. I think First Solar did the same thing. Yeah, First Solar is a little bit off the high, so gapped up on First Solar as well. We'll have to see if that's an exhaustion gap or not. But as it is getting overbought here. So I've been long for solar on the break of the 200-day moving average. So it's been a really nice profitable trade for me. I think they are coming up with earnings shortly, so maybe that's a place where I take some profits. Visa, I mentioned that one. And then a bunch of energy call buying. So energy, I talked about in the weekend video. You know, a couple things to kind of look at here. Well, number one, there's still been some selling going on, but I want to use this on my Thinkorswim charts. XLE, XOP look very similar, but you know, kind of looks like a double bottom. Again, I talked about the double bottom in the weekend video, but I said just like I said in the video, you know, so I'm missing out. You know, these things moved up 1.5%. XOP was up much higher. But I want to look, I want to see, number one, a break of the 50-day moving average, which happened today. Number two, a break of the value area. So that's could happen tomorrow, and maybe I try a counter trend long here in this space. I have not had anything on energy in a long time. So very similar looking chart with XOP, except XOP moves faster because it's a equally weighted ETF. So the smaller names get the same weight as the bigger names. So this is moving. The name that I've really been focused on, but no position yet because it has not crossed the 200-day moving average. At least I don't think it. I think it did. I looked at it 10 minutes before the close. This is the this is the MLP ETF that saw what 55,000 call options that traded for January 2019. Nope, still not there. So I'll continue to wait. I'm waiting for a break of that 200-day moving average. So I will not enter until that takes place. So could be tomorrow. As I said yesterday, I thought it would be today, but not yet. So sit on my hands and wait. There was a couple different buying going on in the energy space, one of which was an MLP, ETE, 10,000 October 20 calls that one up. So this one's above the 200-day moving average. So this could be a name, maybe instead of AMLP. Here's a 5-year chart, kind of scaling a little bit. Look at a 1-year chart. It is above the 200-day and also above the 50-day moving average. So a whole bunch of calls being purchased in ETE. So this is another name that I may decide to do. You look at the dividend yield on some of these, and much better to own in cash. 6.3% dividend yield. So I think a better name to own in cash versus options. All right, and I think that's it for the video for today. They purchased a little bit of Sarepta right before the close. I'm also looking at Sarepta tomorrow. Another name that should be over the 200-day moving average tomorrow after a long base. SRPT, here's the price action of the earnings after the close. I think I saw 37. Yeah, so pretty strong. Now keep in mind, it's not up that much. Well, it is up now, actually. From where it was Monday, some people are like, oh, I don't want to buy it now. It's up that much, but I think it's just kind of starting to get going. And from where it was on Monday, it was at $36. It's only, what, $1.70 up higher than it was. So these biotechs can really take off. So that is it, and I think you want to stay the course on the put side. There was a big SMH order, so it's just one order. 3 or 4 weeks ago when we saw a little bit of a sell-off in semis, there was a lot more puts that came in for SMH. So that's something to keep an eye on. And also put buying. We'll kind of wait and see. That's usually one of really good indicators when we start to see a lot of puts being bought. For now, we're still seeing a lot of calls being bought. I think it's, as I've been doing in my portfolio, taking profits and being selective on new trades. What did I start today? I started a trade in Salesforce today, so not completely, not avoiding buying altogether. Salesforce, I've got a nice stop level, the 50-day moving average, as well as the top of value. So I did start a Salesforce trade today. So that's it for today's call. Have a great night, and I'll see you back in the trading room bright and early Thursday morning. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Also, a ton of names report after the close on Thursday. So, if you're interested in checking us out, now would be the right time to do it because we're going to go over all these earnings trades for tomorrow: Microsoft, Visa, eBay, and there's a couple other ones. So again, half off for the first month, which I think is a great value considering we're going to be going over each and every one of these big names that report earnings. And I'm 3 for 4 on earnings plays. So hopefully 4 for 5 after T-Mobile. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.